Good, 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 good. Thank you. Sorry about all that. I got the wrong link apparently. Hey, but it means that I've got less time. That's all.
No, no worries.
Mhm.
No worries. We're just happy to have you on, man. Thank you for being here.
Yeah, for sure. So I can do definitely a solid half hour, if not 40 minutes. Otherwise, I can give you a half an hour because I
Okay.
tried getting on, but I had the wrong link. So
No worries. No worries. We're like I said, we're happy to have you on. We'll get in whatever we can get in,
yeah,
and maybe sometime in the future, if this goes well, we'll do another one.
yep.
Actually, let me just get this out of the way too. I discovered you through Achintia Govanda.
Ah,
Okay, so I
Govinda.
had the way I found you is, well, my awakening. I was young. I was only 15. This was 2005. But so I saw Loose Change that made me question 9/11. Saw Zeitgeist, and then a few years passed. Now I'm highly awake, and then I had a friend send me Crossing Over 2012. And since
Uh-huh.
then, you have been my friend, like the biggest inspiration to me. I do this mostly because of what you did for me back around 8, 9 years ago. So I want to thank you.
Nice. Beautiful.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Yes.
Yep.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I want to watch your live today.
Yep, but we're gonna impress you with our live today. So after this, I'll go straight over to Danny's. Danny's here right now, and we're gonna do a live, and you'll be seeing what we've got on offer.
Yeah, I can't wait. And actually, just to introduce it, you're going to talk about your syncretism school, correct?
Yep, that's it.
Okay.
You know-
And I mean, if you wanted to do a brief thing on so it's Neoplatonic, and you're going to be teaching truth because you're a lover of
Yep.
truth, as I know. And so it's going to be like an academy, I heard. So you're going to do multiple.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
So astrology, and
Yep.
say astrotheology and all that.
Exactly.
Awesome.
Yeah.
If I can make it out there, I will be there.
Nice.
Cool. All right. Well, first things first, why we wanted you on is you are one of our biggest inspirations, and you are the guy we go to for truth. So basically, we wanted to start out with today, the eclipse. And by the way, today's my birthday. I had an exact solar return chart with the eclipse, and you had mentioned it being a big date in the Aztec calendar. So today is supposed to be some sort of portal or awakening.
Sure is. Yep, it's the Aztec calendar, one of the most accurate in existence. They predicted that today would be the beginning of the sixth sun, or if I've got that wrong, the end of the fifth sun. Someone in another article wrote that they said it'll be 2026 before the true beginning. There's a cusp. So the true beginning of that sun will be in 2026, in another 5 years. I read in an article. There's not much information on this at all.
Sure.
But definitely end or beginning, they are really the same thing. So that vicious sun that really was very brutal on humanity for a reason has ended. So we should feel that from now on. I think it's going to be palpable and noticeable, very, very noticeable to most people now. Great awakening, I think, on the one hand, and lots of exposure of evil and corruption, and just a revelation, a revealing, an apocalypse.
And so you mentioned the fifth sun. Was 2012 the portal for that, or was that just its own?
That was the Mayan calendar. So the
Right.
Mayans are a Saturnian cult. That's their calendar there. That's got Saturn, old man time. He's carrying the burden of time, whereas the Toltec is, let's get that right. Yep, I always want to put that. So you see the round sun god in the center. It's actually the god Tonatiuh. Ton, all is a ton. But really it's the earth, and it's telling you about the cosmology, the toroidal field cosmology. There are 7 concentric rings here, and the earth is it's geocentric. This is telling you about the geocentric Earth we live in. Let me show you how it works. So you've got Tonatiuh, the sun god, is actually the Earth, the father and Earth. So that's what you're looking at there. Right, let me get this right. Okay, angle.
It's mirrored.
Like that. Okay. So he's got his tongue out, just like Krishna, just like Jagannath, just like all the other cultures. So this is the Earth. Then you have the ring of Mercury, moon, I mean. Here, this is the ring of the moon. No, there, it's this one here. That's the moon. Then the next one's Mercury and Venus. Venus has got the number 5 in there. So you'll see that there's 5 all over that one. Then there's the sun, then Mars, Jupiter, and Saturn on the outside ring, and then the zodiac right around the edge here, right around the edge. So when you look at this calendar here, this is our cosmology. We live on that Earth, the center there. So it's the centerpiece, it's geocentric. And the Toltecs and all of the people, I've spoken to Mexicas, Zapotecas, Chichimecas, people who teach Semanahuac, the ancient American religion, they all know that this is the true model of the Earth. That's the Earth. And as the Jews also had the concentric ring universe model, I've always used it myself. The astrological model is the same as this. Ptolemy, I'm a Ptolemaic tropical astrologer. Hence, I teach true geocentric system, which is exactly what you're seeing here. This is Ptolemy's model and the model that I've always and always will use. I will only use this true model.
I do recall from your, well, I've probably watched most of your, presentations, but so is that the same model when you were talking about, you know, the rings going up to the heavens where it was Saturn at the top, I recall, and you were showing the way the traveling of the sun was, and it went in kind of like a figure 8? Because I watch your best of video all the time, and I recall, so the planes above us are leading to heaven, and then the planes below us are, so we live in a hollow Earth.
Well, it's a torus field. It has to be a torus field.
Sure.
Because that's what an atom is. An atom is a torus field, and everything is torus fields. It's how magnetism operates through it's the Ethernet, which is the field, the dielectric plane. So everything in matter, the vibratorial wave, which is electrical, right, that proceeds forth from the digital scalar wave magnetic world. So it's the magnetic world which is producing the physical effect of the vibratory electrical world. And so all of this happens through a field, a torus field. So a torus is pulsating in the middle, pulse, and then it waves. Pulse and wave in a figure 8. And there's always a pulse in the center, and then the wave goes up, and then it goes and does the other half, a positive and a negative. So that's the torus field. And so that is how your atom is, that is how the solar system is, that is how your body is, that is how God is, that is how the universe is. Everything takes this form. That's why we have a torso, because we have a torus, same word, field. All right. And the blue shift enters in the fontanelle, left turning, centripetal convergent light, gravitating inward, going through the heart chakra, going out, radiating out, redshift, right turning, centrifugal, divergent, radiating light. And you've got gravitation coming in, radiation going out your perineum. And so this is the system that we live in. And so we're living inside this big apple donut. And the Earth is the plane of inertia, the planet of Eartha, in the center of this big apple. And in the middle is the hyperbola. That's the tree of life in the center of this beautiful Garden of Eden. And so, and the sun and the planets, say, going around Mount Meru, the hyperbola, the center over the flat Earth. And when they're on this side, there's daylight on this side. When the sun is on this side, 12 hours later, the daylight is, because the sun is local. You can see it's local. All you have to do is get into a commercial jet airliner, and you can see how the sun is always at that same level. It doesn't go up or down, or as we perceive it during the day in its arc across the sky. It's very high at midday, but it's not. The sun is not. It's actually just always at the same level. Although when it gets to the Tropic of Cancer, it is way higher than it is, higher and further away from the Earth than it is at the Tropic of Capricorn. The sun is always closer, especially on January the 4th, which is the closest that the sun is to the Earth. Opposite, July 4th, perihelion, that's when, in the Tropic of Cancer, that's when the sun is farthest away from the Earth. So you can see the sun is going up to the Tropic of Cancer, down to the Tropic of Capricorn. As it goes round over the Earth, makes a TP tent, a vortex. It makes a vortex. It's a breath out to Capricorn, breath in to Cancer. And so it is breathing. It is Brahma, breathing creation. And that's how Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 5, describes it. These are not my opinions. These are not theories. These are in Scripture. Scripture does provide us with the true cosmology. Copernicus came along, a Jesuit, and they decided to create a new world order that would be based on a globe model and on a theory called the Copernican theory, which he said should never be taken seriously. It's not true for anything. It's just handy for explaining certain phenomena. That's what he said from the very start. So even though he's a deceptive Jesuit, he did tell the truth. You're not supposed to take this globe theory seriously. And that's why he started a revolution called the Copernican Revolution. And what happened after that was the Council of Trent, which lasted for 20 years, 10 years after he released this book. And the Jesuits there planned their new world order, but based on the globe and global ideologies, global community, global governance, global religion, global economy, global agenda, global warming, global security, global lockdown. This all began with the Jesuits, and this is the biggest of the lies that my academy will expose. We're going to be teachers of this ancient true model, and we're going to bring it back, and we're going to bring it back in full force and teach exactly how the solar system really works. There's only one model in the universe. The universe cannot make a different model, and it's always the torus field. Gravitation, radiation. Electron, blue shift, proton, red shift. And the plane of inertia is the neutron. Every atom is doing this. Electron, proton. Electron, proton. Fusion, fission. Convergent, divergent. Centripetal, centrifugal. And it's like a pump. Thank you, Walter Russell. It's a two-sexed, like electrical pump universe.
Like the heart. So in all the basis of everything is all just, it's actually more simple than what we make it. When people believe the world's physical and that atoms are actually physical, it's just Ken Wheeler's favorite saying, field perturbation, which I've been watching a lot of him. Once again, thanks to you. I love his work, and I heard you're trying to get him on the flat Earth. I actually was on a few of his live streams while I was in there in the chat, And I was calling you out for you. Like I was saying, hey man, you got to check out Santos' stuff. And he just said he's heard of you, but I don't think he's ever heard any of this. And he's absolutely intelligent. I mean, did you figure out a lot of this? Did a lot of the flat Earth and also the way the red shift, blue shift, did that come from Ken Wheeler's work, or did you have a previous with like Walter Russell that was the original?
You know, you know what? I think Ken Wheeler may have actually inspired a lot of it, actually, because I was watching Flat Earth videos from 2014 and then came out in 2015 after I realized that I was using the Flat Earth model anyway in all of my presentations, only I was using Copernican explanations to explain syncretism as accurately as I could. So once I removed everything Copernican and global, then to me, all my work just made more sense without having to, you know, go at great lengths explaining the difference, because the sine wave is always the sine wave, and it's all geocentric. And so I didn't have to change anything at all. It's just embarrassing when I go back and look at the old ones and see me using Jesuit global explanations. So, but Ken Wheeler, he doesn't know it yet, but he's already explaining the mechanics of the flat Earth. He said in one of his videos that matter can only occur on the plane of inertia, of any field, of any magnetic field. So way before I heard him say that, I already had the plane of inertia as the planet of Eartha. It is inertia. Earth is inertia. Everything, because everything else is moving. It's inertia and Eartha. It's the same word. And planet means plane. It's a plane of inertia. It's so that's one of the things that he taught. The other thing that got me was that he said in magnetism, the South Pole is really the North Pole. And so the South Pole is blue shift and the North Pole is red shift. That's according to him. Therefore, that would make the North Pole, Mount Meru in the center, blue shift, which is warm, and red shift out at Antarctica, the South Pole.
Makes sense.
Flipped over where it is cold. So with his explanations on the poles of magnetism and how their scientists have flipped it over and got it wrong, the North Pole is actually the South Pole. With those are two of the main things that Ken teaches, which really one day he will realize is just going to contribute to him understanding the true model, which is the stationary Earth model. Another thing with Ken Wheeler is he calls himself a Neoplatonist. Well, there's two things wrong with that. That he doesn't understand. I don't know how possibly he could miss it. The Neoplatonists were vegetarian. I'm sure he's a flesh eater. He needs to read Porphyry's book on eating flesh. Porphyry was the greatest, and his student Iamblichus, of all the Neoplatonists, according to the emperors of Rome, not according to Ken Wheeler or Santos Bonacci. Oh. So according to history, Porphyry and Iamblichus were the greatest. They were both two things: vegetarian, astrologers. Why is it that Ken does not understand that when he's talking about magnetism, he's actually speaking about God, about Krishna, dielectricity, Radharani, magnetism, electricity, Balaram. How could he possibly miss this? How can he possibly miss that? You can't speak of the magnetic field unless you're speaking it astrologically, like Porphyry and all the Neoplatonists did.
Sure.
There are 12 conditions along every ecliptic of every field of a magnetic sine wave or a cycle. There are 12 conditions. How can he miss that? You see, this is why I make my videos, because you stand on the backs of these great giants. He's a giant in magnetism. You know, I stand on Rudolf Steiner's back, Alvin Boyd Kuhn, but every single one of them, up until Jordan Maxwell, my superstar
Jordan.
friend.
Yeah.
All of them. I don't understand how they can't see what I see, which is the true model. Without the true model, we can never implement correct methods without the correct model. You can never have correct methods. For instance, allopathy, model. So you've got cancer, you're dying, you go to a doctor, he puts you on chemotherapy, method. Bad model, bad method. So you switch over to naturopathy or homeopathy. You got cancer, right, essential oil, spagyrics, tissue salts, herbs, fasting, parasite detox. Great model, homeopathy, natural methods. So our school, syncretismsociety.com, in 20 minutes on my YouTube channel, we're going to have a live. We're going to be explaining what our academy will offer, what we will teach. We will bring back all of these ancient things. None of it is new. None of it is new age. We are doing things according to the correct ancient models, because those models have existed perennially. They have never not existed. We're just going to go and back and pay them their due respect. We're going to pay attention and say, oh, astrology's been there despite the persecution and the attempts to wipe it off the face of the earth. It's been there forever. I wonder why. Because it's a science, and it's a science that will liberate you. It will create consciousness expansion in your field of awareness. It will make you more God, more powerful, more self-determined. Everything the governments and the religions don't want.
Sure. And this came from the age of Pisces being the age of the Dark Ages, right? Which that's around the time we had lost all this knowledge, or did it happen prior? And what caused, say, the Jesuits and all these people in corruption? What led to them wanting to hide this, and why would they want to keep it from us and prevent us from awakening? Is there something that goes on externally from what we could see, like things we experience in the physical? Is it some sort of spiritual trap that they're keeping us in?
Yeah, they're people traffickers. They're pimps. This is a pimpocracy, a synastry. These are the two words I use. Some people say oligarchy, others Nazism, or whatever they want to call it, socialism, communism, Bolshevism. It is a pimpocracy, just a bunch of pedophile pimps that are people traffickers. And it's a synarchy, which means a group of thugs that get together behind the scenes, gangs that run and call the shots. And they are pimps. They don't do any of the dirty work. They let all their useful idiots control the useless eaters. The useful idiots are the people, the police and the sheriffs and everything, who are doing everything incorrectly, not according to God's law, natural law, but according to the commercial admiralty law of the Vatican and the UCC. So they are trafficking our energy. They are trafficking our souls. They are keeping us in ignorance so that we do not deify, so that we do not divinize, so that we do not ascend and disentangle ourselves from their adhesion contracts and their blasphemies and their sins against God. These people are damned. They are children of the damned. They are teaching perversities. They are adrenochrome, drunken demons on this earth plane, pretending and masquerading to be pretty and glamorous in Hollywood, and as politicians, looking after your back. Uncle Sam, you can trust us. Take the jab. Everything's going to be all right. And the Pope's not a faggot. I mean, if it looks like a faggot and it talks like a faggot, then it's a faggot. And faggot, for me, I'll reclaim that word. If anyone gets offended, this is not against gays at all. Faggot for me is just the perfect word that I have chosen to represent a degenerate.
Strong.
If it looks like a degenerate, look at these cardinals. Have a look at them. Look at them carefully. You will see the Rothschilds. You will look and see these are vampires. These are parasitic, vile, degenerate, debauched, satanic pigs, dogs in human flesh.
How do they continue to perpetuate though the like the deception? Like how are they pulling the strings, and like who are like the real we know much of the Vatican and the Jesuits, and like, you know, maybe some of the like the Rothschilds as well, but like what is their inner workings? How do they continue to have this, especially with people waking up more and more now to it and are aware of this?
How they get away with it is through the spells that they have bound and cast on humanity from kindergarten onward in Sunday schools. The Jehovah's Witnesses, the Mormons, who do you think they get funded by? Where are their roots? Charles Taze Russell and Joseph Smith. Smith is a big Illuminati family, the Russell family, the Russell Trust. The Bushes come from them. It's always these Zionist, Bolshevik, Christian type organizations, the Baptists, they're all in it together. They are the New World Order. They're all globalists. Martin Luther, he attacked Copernicus. He said, there are some deceivers who are coming along who are teaching new concepts of the earth now, for they want to get a name for themselves by changing God's nature and now making the earth spin and be a globe. Martin Luther, even though he was a Jesuit as well, it astounds me how they contradict each other. He called him out. Because why? That's how much jealousy they have they are lizards amongst them, these elite families, carving up humanity in organizations and groups and dividing us all in different colors and creeds and divisions and sects and castes and economic statuses. They're even jealous of each other and hate each other, you see. So, but they've been infiltrated, especially since the French Revolution. When you look at these words, revolution, pay attention, because that's what it means. It means a revolution. The French Revolution is where the start of the Illuminati began in 1789. And prior to that, also in 1776, the Illuminati were actually founded, and then they caused the French Revolution, and then they caused 100 years later the Bolshevik Revolution and the American Revolution as well. But no, I mean, sorry, they missed that by 3 years, because the Jesuits were banned between 1773 and 1776. They were banned by Pope Clement XIII, who somehow, you know, there's some good popes, and they get killed. He got killed, but he banned the Jesuits for 3 years, which caused Washington and Thomas and Madison and all these guys to get together real quick and form Articles of Confederation, Bill of Rights, Constitution, and by 1776 they had the Republic founded, and Thomas Paine and Benjamin Franklin and Patrick Henry and all of these heroes. Well, Benjamin Franklin, I don't know about him, but he did stipulate clearly that America was a republic, which lasted 100 years, because the Vatican then came back through the Illuminati in 1776. So even though you can go back to 1542, when the Jesuit families, the Farnese and the Borgia, created the Jesuits and sponsored Copernicus to start a PSYOP called the Global Agenda with the false kindergarten globe, CGI globe. We still haven't got a photo of the Earth, but Hubble space is up there. We could have trillions of real photos on Google, and yet we've got millions of images, not photos, CGI images of the Earth. Only do we have only. We do not have one single photo of this apparent ball spinning, orbiting, thrusting, hurtling through space, and yet the same boring stars turn over our heads every night. Aries, Taurus, Gemini, for thousands and millions of years. No distortion in the shapes of the signs, even though some stars are trillions and gazillions of light years further away in any particular constellation than the ones you see. You don't see them. They tell you that they're not all the stars of Taurus. Some Aldebaran's way in the distance, and Betelgeuse is really, really close. It's only like about 6 light years away or whatever. Even though we're flying at breakneck speeds through the galaxy, there's no parallax. There's no.
Doesn't make any sense.
None of the stars move. They've always been the same brightness. We don't get brighter stars as we hurtle towards the star systems that we're coming towards, and then we don't see the ones behind, the ones that we're leaving behind. We don't see any diminishment of light at all. The degree of brightness has never changed in any star ever in recorded history.
And once you see it, you can't unsee it. And like you said, you're beating yourself up before overall, all my work, your work that you were doing pre-Flat Earth still led you to it. And when you finally get past the threshold and you were talking about programming, we were programmed at a point, but now, like, even my family, my friends, people, you mention these very plausible and realistic ideas. And the programming in the spell is so deep that, you get laughed at. It's mockery. I mean, you harbored in all of this and took a lot of the heat in the beginning, but the programming goes deep, and it's our job to just stay consistent as much as we can. And whoever is not meant to be saved isn't meant to be saved, from all of it. But the spell is huge. It's deep.
Yeah, the people who haven't awoken, they belong to the herd mind, and they will be reharvested. They will be recycled and reused in other slave capacities as they reincarnate. We shall be released. We will be released as we disentangle ourselves from vices, going from vices to virtue, not as some idiots have it, and they actually call their band From Vices to Virtue, where they've gone from virtue to vice, clearly. So we are going to virtue. We're on the right-hand path, not the left-hand path. We are following correct conduct. We have ethics, etiquette. We have morals. We have truth. We live by truthful principles. We don't tolerate people who deliberately entertain demonic behavior like drunkenness. You would never have a drunk ever in your spiritual field at all, ever, let alone a partner. Anyone who drinks alcohol is demonized. It's a spiritual ceremony of being. It lowers the frequency of the individual so much that by 99.9%, that the field force around you is totally neutralized. It goes to like a dark hole, and all kinds of entities just pour in your Taurus field. Pubs and clubs where people go and like to play and entertain bums, and they think they're really cool. In pubs and bars, and they post on their Facebook, oh, we're going to be playing at this pub tonight and this bar. These places are lurking with demons, and people are proud of this. They're going to entertain bums, basically. You can't go to pubs and not walk out demonized. You can't be smooching drunk at bums and not be demonized. So, we will disentangle ourselves. Definitely. Look, guys, I've got to go really in 5 minutes.
You know
'cause
what's funny? We're right on time because my Zoom I didn't realize because I don't pay for Zoom. I have 5 minutes left. So what I wanted to do, Santos, is just one last thing. Well, a few things really in one. So I would love to do this again so we can have some time. If you can, if you're free, I know that you're starting the school. I know if you have the podcast. So if you cannot, it's okay. But we were going to have a Chinty on again. We were going to see if you guys wanted to maybe do a combined Zoom call.
Yeah.
I talk to him every day on Facebook. I'm a big fan of both you guys. I want to be friends with both of you guys. I'm on board with you to the end, man. Like we're here to do this. We just started this podcast in November for this. So if you were down for it, if we can schedule at some point, maybe you and Achintya come on and we can have a nice conversation where there's no time restraint.
Oh, for sure. Any day. He's my one of my favorite human beings on the plane. He is a most superb, exquisite, fine man.
We had a
Man
2.5 hour conversation.
Really, yeah, he really is so wise and such a wonderful man. That'll be a pleasure.
All right, cool. Yeah. So we'll email you. We'll get in contact. Gio, do you want to say anything else before he goes?
I just want to say, I mean, I definitely appreciate you coming on as well. You know, especially being now the new generation coming in, and it's something that Achintya had even said, you know, we're the pioneers to keep this knowledge and this wisdom that you are, you and so many others as well. But I want to specifically focus on you because I see the syncretism as bringing all these different types of separation parties, like religions and all that, to understand it as one and to release themselves from all the constant whose group is better and who's doing this, and understanding that there is a oneness and there is no separation from that oneness and all is right there. And I think it's important. If there's any sort of ascension that needs to be achieved, it's through this. So we definitely know that that's part of our goal to keep that going. So once again, just thank you. Love what you do. Keep it going.
Thanks, guys. Was this live?
It wasn't live, but we recorded it. It's going to go up. Yep.
Gotcha. All right. Well, flip over now to my channel because I'll be showing, doing the vid here on May the 26th about the school. So this is going to be historical.
Santos,
awesome.
You were the best birthday gift a guy could have, by the way. So we'll email you, be in contact, and thank you so much, man.
See you, man. Bye-bye.
Thank you, brother.